I hate this idea that you're the best.
What's up, guys? A little bit of a reality check for you before I get into my Monday Night Raw review. You guys know I'm a big fan of Wrestling Jesus. In fact, I admitted that the video that I just did, the Daniel Bryan video, was basically a page out of Wrestling Jesus' book. You find somebody that sucks, you give 15 reasons. Hey, 15 reasons why X wrestler sucks. I love watching Wrestling Jesus' videos because he's way over the top, and you want to believe that at least some of the shit that he says is exaggerated about the YWC, about this community, whatever. It's really not. It's really not. I mean, you can tread along through the YWC, you can throw up a little opinion here or there, you take a little jab here or there, but if you say the wrong thing, you're fucked. You are Satan. You are worse than a murderer, worse than a rapist. You're worse than fucking Chris Benoit, and that's hard to do unless you're Chris Benoit 2.0, aka Daniel Bryan. But really, guys, you guys say I turned on Daniel Bryan after WrestleMania to get views. If you go back through my videos leading up to WrestleMania, I said the Daniel Bryan thing was fucked from Jump Street, and it was ridiculous, and it was overplayed, and it was ruining a guy that I genuinely do like watching in the ring long before WrestleMania happened. So that's really, really out the window. But there's a lot of fuck in my comment section. Either I'm a fucking fat ass, or I'm a fucking idiot, or I don't fucking know what I'm talking about, or I'm super fucked, or I'm fucking trolling, or I'm trolling the fuck out of fucking. Because that's what people with no rebuttal do. They swear and throw random insults, and they go into OTRS mode, if you will. A couple quick things. I'm not going to make a whole nother video out of this. This is just going to be a little thing, and then I'm going to do my Raw review, and it's going to be all fine and well and good. And if any of you are still my friends by the end, you can check out my Raw review and find out what I thought of Raw. Okay. Can't even joke about this. One of the most revolting things in this community is when somebody dies, we immediately use it as a social weapon to attack others, make others look bad, or insult people. Now, I expressed my opinion about a wrestling character on a wrestling show, and the next day, the person that plays that character, let's make this distinction here, Daniel Bryan the character, Bryan Danielson the person, Bryan Danielson's father passed away. Immensely unfortunate. I didn't come up here and do a rest in peace video. He's not somebody I know. That would be very, very fake of me to do. But it's very unfortunate. Obviously, you gotta feel bad for the guy. He's at the pinnacle of his career. He's just got himself a nice little, trophy wife. It's all good. Everything's coming up Daniel Bryan, isn't it? And then his dad passed away. That's horrible. In and of itself. But people saying that I made a video about Daniel Bryan and my qualms with the Daniel Bryan character. The day before this was all announced, oh, why are you kicking him while he's down? Why don't you have any respect? Da-da-da-da. It's like, no, one has nothing to do with the other. That's sad. You're trying to use a dead person to make me look bad. That's vulgar on you, not on me. How you kicking a guy when he's down, I hate to be cocky about this, guys, but I did it the day before. He wasn't down then. He was standing up, yes. It's just, I don't even, it's repulsive. It really is, because people are going to say, oh, whether or not it's actually true, I can bring up a dead person, get all kinds of sympathy, and look like I'm being sympathetic, and then I'll look like the good guy, and I'll make Spaz look like the bad guy, make him look like he's mocking a dead person. Whereas, no, I am mocking the character portrayed by the son of the person that passed away. One has nothing to do with the other. I know you want to link that together. I know you want to just have the easy way out and just, ignore all the points that I made by sweeping it under the rug of his dad passing away, but that is now you using a dead person as a weapon, which is vulgar. It's really, really true. It's, going back to my Wrestling Jesus reference, it's back when OTRS used the death of Macho Man Randy Savage to make the rest of the YWC look bad. It's vulgar, and it's low. It's really, really low. People that I know in this community, people that I respect in this community, came out of the woodwork for this. And I mean, you guys know me. You guys know who I've collaborated with. You guys know that I've collaborated with Alex and Preston quite a bit on this channel, and I have a lot of respect for what they have to say, and I would like to think that they have a lot of respect for what I have to say. When I get a one-word response on Facebook from Alex when he sees my video saying, delete it, and an accusation from Preston saying, well, you basically just spit in our faces, didn't you? I'm like, no, I looked at a wrestling product, saw a character and some booking that I disagreed with, and came up and made my opinions known as to why. If you choose to take it on personally, that's your own business, but that in that case I could turn around and say, well, you've been throwing grenades at me for months because of you guys can't do a video without running down the Miz. Very, very Mark Pearson of you, just saying. Let's as long as I'm going to give you guys a reality check, let's have the biggest reality check possible. WWE gave Daniel Bryan the belts for 2 reasons. To save WrestleMania and to pacify the crowd. It's not because he's getting a big, great push. It's not because he's the next big thing. It's not because he's the next Austin, the next Hogan, or all these inflated... it's not some big, massive program coming up. No, not really. Now, if you want to see... why really I'm doing a video, you know, even my computer doesn't like the fact that I'm pointing out that Daniel Bryan is bullshit. Let's look at something for a second. Let's look at all the young up-and-coming favorites in the WWE and who they get to work with. Let's face it, the 5 biggest names in the WWE right now, whether we like it or not, and I don't, are John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar. Now let's see who's getting the rub off those guys. Evolution is doing their damnedest to put over the Shield. John Cena, although, you know, the success rate is questionable, is boosting Bray Wyatt and the entire Wyatt family. And the heat, the nuclear white-hot heat that Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman got for defeating the Streak at WrestleMania, which I could do a whole other video on, is all right now being absorbed and put to good use in Cesaro. Now... all that is amazing. Cesaro's got a rivalry with Swagger starting up. The Wyatts and John Cena have their feud moving forward, and we're getting Evolution versus The Shield at Extreme Rules. What's Daniel Bryan doing with Extreme Rules? Okay, we gave him the belt. Okay, we gave him a pretty little trophy wife. Let's shove him off in the corner with Kane again. Yeah. So he's got Brie, which is nice. He's got the belts, which is nice. But by far, he's not even the main event of the B pay-per-view. So enjoy WrestleMania, go back, watch it, fap if you're going to, like some of you are, but Extreme Rules is going to come along, and, you know, the Intercontinental Tournament is going to steal the show, Cena, Wyatt in a cage is going to steal the show. Yes, I'm saying that I'm looking more forward to a John Cena match than a Daniel Bryan match, and Evolution versus The Shield is going to own fucking shop. So Daniel Bryan, take your trophy wife, take your little belts, and fuck off. Just saying. Oh, the typical thing. Oh, you can't blame the guy. You can't really be mad at the guy. It's the bookers, it's the writers, it's the this, it's the that, it's the next thing. Again, something that you guys refuse to realize. I'm not sitting here. It's the same as when I did my videos against John Cena. I know you guys don't like the John Cena comparisons, but they're right there. When I did the John Cena videos, when I did Cena-Apocalypse even, I started off the video by saying, I am not attacking John Cena the person. I'm sure if I met him, I could sit down and have a Smirnoff with John Cena the person. John Cena the person does all this charity work. John Cena the person does XYZ. You know, I could probably find some common ground with him. The way he's booked and John Cena the character drives me nuts. And when somebody comes up to me and says, oh, don't blame Daniel Bryan, blame the bookers, blame the writers, blame the company, I do. All of those things make up Daniel Bryan the character. And when I say Daniel Bryan sucks, Daniel Bryan the character does. Bryan Danielson the person is probably a great guy. He's a vegan, so we probably couldn't eat in the same restaurant. He's a phenomenal talent in the ring, I will give you that. But all the elements that go into what his character is and where it's going right now suck. He's steamrolling everybody worse than John Cena. And yes, I'm going to keep saying that because it's true. Everybody holds up John Cena as, you know, the next guy to hold the golden shovel after Triple H gives it up. But John Cena didn't steal 2 main events at WrestleMania and steamroll everybody involved. And, by the way, hit, you know, Stephanie McMahon with a suicide dive because, you know, hitting women is fantastic. But you know, oh, you're making fun of Bryan Danielson, the person. You're making, he could be a good guy. His dad just passed away. You feel bad for him. I do feel bad for him. I feel bad for Bryan Danielson, the person. Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't have a problem with the guy. I'm not negating his skills in the ring. His character is annoying. His promos suck. His booking into WrestleMania and afterwards made no sense, and it was shoved down our throats, and that's what I am commenting on. Bryan Danielson, the person, Daniel Bryan, the character, the entity, the WWE creation. Two separate things. I know you would love to put them together so that you could say that I'm a bad person, hating on him personally, or being some kind of bully so that you could tell me to be a star, but it just doesn't work. It harkens back to, you know, CM Punk versus The Undertaker, and the whole Paul Bearer stuff. Sorry guys, you know, itchy nose as usual. Everybody tried to tell me that CM Punk was a bad person because he was, you know, Phil Brooks was, you know, this and that, and then CM Punk was mocking the death of Paul Bearer in front of The Undertaker. Yeah, those three characters had those three things happen, but I promise you, Phil Brooks did not go up to Mark Calloway and say, William Moody's a fucking bastard and I'm glad he's dead. No. Separation of character and person. Bryan Danielson, tremendous professional wrestler who also is unfortunately dealing with the passing away of his father, which is unfortunate. Daniel Bryan, overbooked, nonsensically booked character that can't cut a promo to save his life and is taking up way too much time on my television screen and is going to have a forgettable, inconsequential, predictable match at Extreme Rules, while everybody else that's good in the WWE is going to own fucking shop. And then there's the people that tell me, and there was a comment that was left on my last rant that said if you were running WWE, the shows would have no ratings and the company would have no money. Now, that basically feeds into the more generic Daniel Bryan fan mentality of, oh, if Daniel Bryan's not there, it automatically sucks. Now, I already said last week's Raw was the best Raw of this year so far, and people obviously, you're being biased, you're just saying it, you're exaggerating to make a point. Now, No. Where do we judge the success of a show? Where do we get the money for the company? From the ratings, do we not? Last night's episode of Monday Night Raw got $4.1 million viewers, down from last week's episode, which was 4.77, almost 4.8, meaning the big Daniel Bryan comeback show lost them 700,000 viewers. And not only that, break down the show. First hour got 4.2 million. Second hour got 4.4 million. Third hour got 3.8 million, which means that from the first hour to the second hour, they gained viewers once Daniel Bryan was gone. Oh yes. Oh yes, moving on. Yes, let's move on to Raw. Let's not dwindle, and let's not dwell, and let's not lollygag around these points that I have made that nobody can really refute other than, you know, shouting out random profanity, random insults in my direction. And if your only argument is that I'm fat, I will come up here and tell you that I am no fucking skinny person. What's your next point? Anyways, for those of you that are still my friends, for those of you that haven't dropped off yet, give me a couple seconds and I will get into my Raw review. Later. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and if you're still watching this video after I, dared to give my opinion on Daniel Bryan a little more, then I welcome you along to the show. What's going on? A couple days late. It's like Wednesday at ass o'clock, as usual, when I do a vids. Raw, I don't have too much to say about. This will probably be a short review, which, tack it on with my Bryan stuff will not make it a short review, but whatever. We're building towards Extreme Rules, which is going to be a lot of fun. Everything but the title match, obviously. A lot of new people are getting... A lot of NXT. There's a lot of NXT influence in Extreme Rules. You look at... I don't even know. You look at Big E. You look at Rusev. You look at Xavier Woods. You look at Bray Wyatt. You look at The Shield. You look at Paige. You look at, I don't know, if there's any kind of comedy bullshit, maybe we'll get Emma, maybe we'll get Fandango, something along those lines, but they're really accentuating the NXT element. So, you know, our world champion that lost NXT Season 1 is going to be there as well. But, you know. We start off the show with the champion, and he looks like a kid that just found out he had a date to the prom. He's sitting there with Brie. Yes, 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 look at my belts, look at my trophy wife. He doesn't get to say anything, thank God, because he's cut off by Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon, with some boss-level trolling, friggin' pretending to be happy for them, telling them, you know, WWE's a family, so we're all excited for you and your wedding, and it's all bullshit, and it's all meant to build Total Divas, isn't it? She tells him that he's going to be facing Kane at Extreme Rules, because that's how much his championship reign actually means. Moving on, Kane comes in from the crowd, and Stephanie says, you might want to protect Brie, your new pretty wife or whatever, from Kane, because he's back to being the monster. And he comes out of the crowd, and he's all masked up, and he's no longer, you know, Al Bundy Kane with the wife beater and the dress pants, because that was super awkward. So at Extreme Rules, we have Daniel Bryan, this great big new champion who's going to make big change in the WWE, is going up against, you know, a guy that went to WrestleMania and got his ass handed to him alongside the New Age Outlaws by the Shield in not a curtain jerker match, but one of the curtain jerker matches, and a squash match it was at WrestleMania, was it not? Oh, Bryan. Oh, no. Then we have, infinitely better than our world champion, we have further progress in the Intercontinental title tournament, where we get Barrett versus Sheamus, and Barrett wins, which is awesome because Barrett won, and it's awesome because Sheamus lost. Excuse me, guys. And the tournament continues. In all honesty, all kidding aside, Sheamus held up his end in this match. It looked like a brawl. It looked fantastic. The Bullhammer is being sold like gold. I would love it if, say, a couple months from now, we have, you know, Wade Barrett holding Money in the Bank, and then maybe we can go to a pay-per-view where Daniel Bryan maybe gets a bullhammer and loses the title in 18 seconds. Just saying, it could happen. Los Matadors versus 2.5 MB, otherwise known as Los Matadors and El Torito versus 2 members of 3MB and Hornswoggle. The faces win. It's harmless fun. This comedy is better than Santino comedy, which we'll get into shortly. But you know what? It's a little sideshow thing. Hornswoggle and El Torito are fun to watch. Even more fun is, no matter whether it's Raw, SmackDown, Main Event, which I just watched a stream of right now, to hear the announcers go over the top, making El Torito and Hornswoggle sound like the biggest thing ever, like the match to end all matches and the match to end all matches too, or it's just fun. And especially JBL, who has been amazing for months and months and months, always talking about El Torito like he's a real bull, always talking about Hornswoggle like he's a genuine leprechaun. Like, when JBL does shit like that, and I think it's that type of comedy is starting to wipe off on the rest of the commentators, and they're playing it up like a big thing, sarcastically, obviously, but it's better than when Santino is in the ring and everybody's laughing at him and pointing out what a loser he is. Harmless fun, didn't last too long, the faces win, everybody goes home happy. Evolution comes out, cuts a promo on the Shield, or tries to cut a promo on the Shield, because Triple H was sick or something. He had laryngitis of the nth degree. He was trying to talk. They all sort of cut pretty cookie-cutter heel faction promo type stuff. Here we are. We're bad guys. We'll toss the mic around. Shield comes out, calls them cream puffs, calls them every other thing in the book. You don't know what you're in for at Extreme Rules. We're going to show this is our yard. They try to follow Evolution up the ramp, and Evolution are backed up by all the jobber bad guys that were in the 11-on-3 match last week, which is just great. On a side note, I saw somebody, I think it was in the No DQ forums, I'm not sure. If I can find the link, I'll put it down in the box below, but chances are I won't find it because I don't know where I got it from in the first place. They redid the Evolution entrance video with all the guys that were standing up on that stage, and the title of it was something like what if they gave Evolution the NWO treatment, so making it look like a big friggin', I guess it would be 14-person faction, and it was kind of neat, and, you know, people get creative with stuff like that. But you know what, honestly, everybody that was standing out on that ramp, for the most part, obviously there's Swagger and there's Del Rio and there's a couple other people, but a lot of them are jobbers. Like, Rusev just got there. He's already being put in a faceless, no-name position, standing behind Evolution. 3MB are who they are. Titus O'Neil is garbage. But you know what? It's, you know, big numbers, show of force. It's all good. Like I say, Shield calls them cream puffs, and they sit there stewing at the side of the ring because they know they cannot go 14-on-3. It's just going to be a bad time. Wyatt comes out with the Wyatt family, cutting a promo, rubbing it in John Cena's face, how, you know, he's the hero, and, you know, hey kids, what would you like me to do to your hero this time, and all this sort of thing. Really driving home the fact that more and more and more people are getting behind the Wyatts, which I like, because normally WWE doesn't acknowledge that the fans are behind the heel, and this time they are, and it's really, really cool to see, because it's, you know, maybe John Cena isn't the be-all, end-all. Maybe, you know, Daniel Bryan isn't the be-all, end-all, but whatever. We have the typical, like, Bray Wyatt starting, he's got the whole world in his hands, and then conducting the crowd. I mean, it shows that Bray Wyatt gets to cut his own promos and write his own promos, because he's a puppet master in the ring. As soon as he's got a crowd that he knows will do what he wants them to do, he conducts them like a choir, and it's great. It's really great to see. The Usos defeat the Rhodes Brothers, and it's really hard to get into this because they should have pulled the trigger on the Rhodes Brothers breaking up a long time ago. The Usos are they're still champions, and they're still exciting champions to watch, but they're losing steam as far as, okay, what are they doing next? Face versus face is kind of you know, despite what the guys in Twitwell will tell you, Ryback will suck on commentary. The Rhodes Brothers lost the match. There's a little bit of tension between Cody Rhodes and Goldust, which is too little too late, as far as I'm concerned, because if they were going to do the Brothers storyline, should they not have capped it off at WrestleMania? Just saying. Ryback will jump the Usos after the match, and that's, I guess, how we're getting our tag team match at Extreme Rules. Ryback's garbage. Just saying. You got one guy that's a Goldberg ripoff, and you got one guy that's not even a Goldberg ripoff. And if that doesn't seal Ryback's fate, go listen to any episode of Twitwell with Ashton marking like an idiot and trying to make these guys sound like they're even remotely relevant or good. We have Layla versus Emma, which is good, and it's a good match because Layla's good, and it's good because Emma's good. It's so horrible because Santino hits Fandango with his Cobra on the outside, and then Emma, who has the dilemma, who has the Emma lock, who does the dance Evolution, all these you know, things with funny names but are legitimate wrestling moves. She reaches into her boot and pulls out a pink sock and wins with the Cobra. If I want to pull a positive out of this, Emma is new to the main roster, and I know that she's a great wrestler, so I can get invested in her that way. And character-wise, her character's already kind of awkward, and if they're going to be doing the thing with Santino with her, at least she's getting into it. I don't know that it's necessarily a role that she or anybody else wants her to. And we're back. Gotta love it when the camera dies right in the middle of a review, and it's not even a particularly long review, is it? Anyways, yeah, Emma, Layla, the whole sock Cobra thing just makes me sad for Emma, who's actually, you know, half-decent women's wrestler. You know, endangered things are endangered. Cena in the back, cutting a typical promo, reliving his situation, you know, and he's trying to put over the fact that he fears Bray Wyatt, which is good, except it's not. He's trying to be intense, which is good, except it's not. Because all he's really doing at this point is sounding like a pissed-off kid on the playground that just realizes he has no friends. That's really all that this promo was. And I gotta give a shout out to my buddy James, because I pick on my buddy James a lot for being a John Cena fan. He came into the forum on the Wrestling Realm and said, "Am I the only person that thinks John Cena when he's this intense is amazing?" And I responded, "Yeah, you probably are." To which he responded something about Springfield College, which made me mark and made STEPHIE Sunshine mark. So you put a smile on both of our faces, James. You're a good guy. I'm still not going to say John Cena's doing good things. RVD versus Cesaro. There's a lot of things to say about this. It was a good match overall. You got two good guys. RVD is always fun. Cesaro's a beast. Swagger costs Cesaro the match. Cesaro tries to swing Zeb Coulter. He doesn't get to. He swings Swagger instead. And after the match, Heyman goes to the back while RVD's being interviewed and talks some shit to RVD. You know, you shouldn't be taking this victory. It was only given to you because of Swagger. You're not the kind of man I thought you were back in the ECW days. RVD makes me smile because he looks at Cesaro and he says, "You know what? Keep your trust and your wallet and your career away from this man if you want to succeed in the WWE." Now, here's a couple of things out of this. We've got the finals now. Finals are going to be Barrett versus RVD. because Big E likes into face, Barrett is going to win. We're going to get Barrett versus Big E at the pay-per-view. Now, everybody's going to say, well, we just saw Cesaro get screwed out of a title. Well, no, Cesaro actually has a feud going on with Swagger. So instead of making Cesaro versus Big E, which is one match, we've got Cesaro versus Swagger, which is one match, and Barrett, who's, you know, been pretty good since he's come back, getting a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Now, is he going to win? Probably not. But we got 2 good matches out of this scenario instead of 1. We have a Swagger-Cesaro match coming on SmackDown, which is going to end in a no contest, and it's going to be rebooked at Extreme Rules under some kind of stipulation, maybe a submission or whatever. So everybody wins. What this does as well, with the history between Heyman and RVD, is it allows for the possibility, after the Cesaro-Swagger feud is done, to have a mini feud with RVD to just get another, you know, I guess, extreme name under Cesaro's belt, which could be played up quite nicely. You could just very easily play up the history between RVD and Paul Heyman and have Cesaro come in to sort of protect Heyman while they're debating, and they have a match, Cesaro destroys him, and we're off to the races. Oksana versus Paige. It was an okay match. I mean, I want to say it was better than an okay match, but it was only that because Paige carried it. Oksana should not be given a 10-minute match again. I don't even think this was 10 minutes, but it's been getting longer than Divas matches usually, guys. This is longer time-wise than any AJ Lee match in that whole 295-day title reign, isn't it? Paige looks amazing because it's Paige. Paige puts on the Scorpion Crosslock. There's a certain twit that makes me go wow, that says this match sucked because Paige doesn't make the right faces when she's selling. Last time I checked, it wasn't a beauty contest. Moving on. This match really served a purpose for the commentators, giving them a chance to talk about Tamina versus Paige at Extreme Rules. You know, Paige is the underdog, the young person, the upstart, supposedly fluke champion going up against this big, massive Tamina. So obviously it's going to be a building match for Paige. She's going to come up and she's going to squeak by Tamina in some sort of underdog fashion because, you know, Daniel Bryan sets the stage. It'll be a good match. Tamina, yeah, she's big and she's kind of the big show of the Divas division because she has to show up and be big, and that's what she does. She's not going to win the championship. WWE is distancing themselves from AJ, and Tamina was just done being AJ's bodyguard, so of course they're not going to give Tamina the championship. And Paige is their golden girl right now, as she should be, for pushing how great NXT is. Look at this, one more great NXT person that's already making a big impact on the main roster. And you know what I say? Good for her. If you want to see something that'll just get you behind Paige a little more, they do the Michael Cole interviews on WWE.com every Wednesday. Usually it's Triple H. Triple H wasn't on this week, so it's Michael Cole interviewing Paige. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to push the WWE.com website, but it's a decent little interview, and she carries herself quite well. And you know what? I'm glad she's on the main roster. I still want to see my match, which is Paige versus AJ, a rematch for the championship, but you know, with the Punk Association and all that sort of thing, I really don't know if that's going to happen. So we can do some other things. Put her up against Emma, put her up against Summer Rae. Don't put her up against any of the Total Divas, because then she'll just get overshadowed by the Total Divas. Let's just don't do it. Rusev squashed Sin Cara, and I say that because the outcome is inevitable, but Sin Cara did get some decent offense. Sin Cara, since this incarnation of Sin Cara has come along, has held his own. Like, he hasn't been winning very often. He hasn't been making strides as far as storylines or anything like that, but he's looking solid in the ring. He's not botching all over the place. He's not Ultimo Dragon 2.0, so it's all good. And Rusev obviously looks like a monster, which is great for when he goes in the background of Evolution and stands there and looks big and is another big show. Cena versus the Wyatts, and I didn't talk about this at the beginning of the show because I don't like talking about the app, but the app vote was John Cena going to face Luke Harper? Was he going to face Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, or was he going to face Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Bray Wyatt? And Bray Wyatt played it off in his promo about, you know, they're discovering that you're a liar, you know, they're following the buzzards and all that sort of thing. And then the commentators played it up on John Cena's side, saying, "Oh, the fans are really supporting John Cena. They want him to get his hands on Bray Wyatt." Fuck off. Luckily, he got his ass handed to him by the Wyatts. He won by disqualification when Rowan and Harper came in to save Bray Wyatt, I believe. But he got owned. He got knocked unconscious. He got laid out in the center of the ring after Bray Wyatt did the amazing, you know, slow dance with the limp body shtick that he used to do from NXT, which made me smile, and it especially made me smile because he was doing it to John Cena. That was great. But then Bray Wyatt sits in the center of the ring, like, sort of plops himself down, kind of CM Punk-ish, cross-legged, and with John Cena's head in his lap. He's singing the, you know, he's got the whole world in his hands again, but he's singing it with a laughter. He's singing it with an intensity. He's saying multiple verses of the song before we finally jump cut to the end of the show, and it was just great. Guys, I don't know. The Shield looked like gold, the Wyatts looked like gold, Cesaro looks like gold. After we scraped off Daniel Bryan with a spatula in the first segment, the rest of the show was phenomenal. Even the goofy stuff was okay. I mean, Emma's doing the Cobra, but she's still a great wrestler in the ring, and I can enjoy that. El Torito versus Hornswoggle is lame and funny, but it's supposed to be, so I can take it. There's not a whole... They're building a tournament around the Intercontinental Championship, and they're using the tournament to boost the Cesaro Swagger story. We're going to get great promos between Paul Heyman and Zeb Coulter before it's all over. Everything is coming up roses going into Extreme Rules, and I'm sorry, Daniel Bryan, you're irrelevant on this pay-per-view. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. What do you think about Raw? What do you think about what I think about Daniel Bryan? Come on, if you hate my guts, say it. If you agree with me, say it. If you want to be respectable, like some people in the comments, hey, I don't necessarily agree with you, but you've got a couple interesting points there, and be respectable about disagreeing with me, that would be an anomaly, would it not? Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Oh, and by the way, the new graphic for this video done by Sal in Puitov. Thanks, dude. It's awesome. Thank you very much. Bye.